So making disciples would not be the church's ultimate priority. The church's ultimate priority is glorifying God, the worship of God. This is the end. This is the end toward which all eternity is headed. This is what we are preparing for. This is what we do on a daily basis in our hearts and our minds together when we gather on Sundays. So church, we want to glorify God. Well, how do we glorify God? Well, certainly in song and worship and praise, but we also glorify God in obedience. And this is where we talk at Brook Hills. We glorify God by making disciples. And so we glorify God by being conformed to the image of Christ. The more we look like Christ, the more we think like Christ, the more we act like Christ, the more Christ is being conformed in us, the more God is glorified in us. And then it's not just about us becoming like Christ, it's about others becoming like Christ. And that's where disciple making comes in. Sharing the gospel of Christ so that others receive it, and teaching the word of Christ so that others know it and are conformed into the image of Christ, and who then do the exact same thing in others' lives. And this is where disciple making then is a chief way that we glorify God in the church. And therefore, I think every local church needs to be asking the question, how then can we most effectively make disciples of all nations? That question drives us as a church. We know that we want God's glory, and we know that we glorify Him by making disciples. So there are no sacred cows here, nothing that we are holding on to. I hope, and it's a constant process to make sure we're not, but to say, how can we most effectively make disciples of all nations? We'll do whatever. We'll organize ourselves however. What can we do to most effectively make disciples of all nations? And I think that really should be a driving question in the heart of every local church, at the forefront of every local church. And it becomes a lens through which different things, programs, events, everything, structure, organization is filtered through. How can we most effectively make disciples of all nations?